So we actually got some information from Airship Syndicate on what's going on with Digital Extremes and that whole transfer of power over to Airship Syndicate, and they actually posted this on Twitter as well as the Discord instead of everything just being on the Discord. So it's possible that you might have already seen it, but what you might not have seen is the Q&A that actually followed the announcement that they made. So we're going to go over both of those today in this video, and if you guys are interested or it's your first time to this channel, we do cover Wayfinder and we do touch on some other games we're going to go over in the future. So make sure you subscribe to this channel, especially if you're interested in what's going on with Wayfinder and the news and updates. With that said, let's go ahead and jump into what they said on Twitter and then go into the Q&A. So on Twitter, they said, "We have reached an agreement with Digital Extremes to begin the transfer of Wayfinder to Airship in earnest. Until this moment, Digital Extremes has remained the publisher of record on Steam and PlayStation. We now begin the process of transferring those responsibilities to Airship, meaning they'll have full publishing rights on Sony and on Steam, so they don't have to worry about going through any extra channels. They'll just take care of themselves. Says, we know Wayfinder had a rocky launch, but we still believe in the game and the world we created." Which a lot of us do that play the game, that have played the game. We can see that there's a lot of good bones in the game, and we think that it's pretty cool. "When we founded Airship, it was to create great games in compelling worlds with memorable characters and adventures with those core principles in mind. We've spent the last several months working behind the scenes, challenging some of the core ideas in Wayfinder and creating an experience that remains consistent with our standards and beliefs. We did this while keeping in mind that we want to respect our founders and excite new players, all while staying feasible as a business model for us as a new independent publisher," which means they got to get some funds coming in and they need to figure out how they're going to do that. So that's what they're saying, while staying feasible as a business model. How can we get people in and excited about the game? How can we make money to keep the game going as an independent publisher? "We plan to share these changes soon, but we aren't quite ready. Due to these changes, we've turned off new sales of the game for the time being. Those who have purchased Wayfinder can still access and play as normal with no interruptions." So the servers are still online, but new players can't come in and just buy the game now. So if it's one of those things like somebody said in the last video, which I'll get to you in a minute, that they were looking forward to, they were keeping an eye on the game, looking forward to playing it, but with all the news, they're like kind of glad they didn't. Well, now it's a good thing that you didn't, because there wasn't going to be any more updates for a little bit, and you'll see why here in a minute. However, those who still have access to the game can still jump in and play. That means we can't buy anything from the store either, so they cut the store sales off and they still cut the new game sales off, and now it's just a game that we can play. Luckily, it's kind of still viable to be able to play these things in a single player mode. If you guys have any questions about how to beat any bosses alone, there's multiple creators who have done each boss with builds, and I have done bosses solo as well. Not fast, but I've done them solo. So just if you have any questions, let me know, or I can point you in the right direction and we can find out something for you to do. Airship is committed to keeping Wayfinder active and vibrant. There will be major changes and major improvements, but we have no plans for it to disappear like so many online only games we've all played and loved. We think Wayfinder can be something special and be around to play forever. Thank you so much for your support. Stay tuned to our social channels for more information in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Now, a lot of online games come in and they don't make it and they get taken offline, and it's really sad. And they're saying we aren't going to do that. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed that that happens. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be upset that they've paused for 4 to 6 weeks. We're not going to hear any news. That is like the old school mail-in catalog. You got to wait 4 to 6 weeks from China for your order to get to you if you order something off of Wish or Temu. And it says that we think Wayfinder can be something special that you can play around forever. So let's go ahead and jump into the Q&A. Now, there was a little Q&A on the dev checker that says commentary following the announcement. I'm going to go ahead and slide this over here so you guys can see. Now, last time you guys talked about my all the notifications I had over here on the side. So there's still a lot there. I'm not going through them. You have to deal with it. So we have some of the things. It says commentary following the announcement that 4 to 6 weeks. It said it could be sooner, not known, but wanted to set expectations. Saying could be sooner, not known. I don't think that's a good idea. So we'll just wait till that 4 to 6 weeks and see what happens. Why disable purchasing the game? The fundamental game will change quite a bit. Buying it today won't reflect the game. It'll become soon. I'm really curious what they're saying the game is going to change a lot, because are they going to launch it with all of the housing and stuff in it? Are they going to pull out this like a complete game? Like, this is the game now. It is complete. Here it is. Very curious. We wouldn't come out saying we've been working on the game and fundamentals of it just to cancel it. That makes no sense. Now that we're in control of the business, we know exactly what we're going to do with the title, and it will be around forever. So I'm guessing somebody said it was going to be canceled. Another thing says, we want people to be as informed as possible when they make a purchasing decision. Now that we have full publishing rights, we will make sure we are doing the best we can for our fans, supporters. Nothing more we can share for now, but the game is changing from where it started. And then somebody says, I didn't mind the game as it was before. And they said, then you're going to love it very soon. So we take it seriously that when we say we are returning to our core principles when it comes to the work we have been doing for Wayfinder. It says full details will be shared as soon as we're ready to do. So at the moment, all purchases will be disabled while the game is restructured. Everyone who owns the game will still be able to play without any disruptions. They say, I speak for the whole team when I say thank you for your trust and support. We plan to deliver on it. Then somebody says they're just doing this to clean slate of mixed reviews. They say incorrect. We'd have to delete this page and have an entirely new app ID. Not ideal since we still have tons of outstanding wish lists. Also not ideal because we're still playing the game. Closing purchases for current feature means an ironclad commitment to creating a game we want people to spend money on. This, says Solid Age. That one about connectivity issues. We know many frustrations stemmed from connectivity issues and server issues. This is one major problem that will be addressed with the full control we have now. So if I understood correctly, the game will not be free to play. Full release details will come in the coming weeks. So there wasn't anything that said if it would be free to play or not. And he's not saying it is or isn't. They're leaving it up in the air. A lot of people were waiting for the free to play to come out. But if the game comes out and it's a full release, that would be interesting. Now he's asking this question about if it's going to be free to play because they said they're trying to figure out their business model as an independent publisher. And it's like one of the better ways to ensure that you're actually getting money in is to sell it at a price, because you still want to keep it from that pay to win aspect that a lot of people have. Hopefully they don't go to the route of putting in timers, because one of the things they had was like no timers. And that might be stuck with their core principles. So we'll have to see how that goes when they switch it over. There's going to be like a lot of information. I'm look forward to that video in 4 to 6 weeks or sooner being a lengthy video going over all of this stuff, because if it's doing huge changes the way they say they are, we're going to have big content changes, and then we're going to have big bugs and fix changes. And they might even throw in that secondary, the next part of the ecosystem. So we may see a completely new game come around than where we started from. One of the things that we definitely want to see as a player base is that fix on inventory space and echo space. Now, the ecosystem kind of fixes the echo space, but what are they going to do with that inventory space? And that is the question that we're all going to have. I heard accessories are going to change as well. So it says, can I continue ascending the characters, or would I be wasting my time with the possibility of a rework coming soon? They say, please continue to play Wayfinder however you most enjoyed it. Changes are coming, but that doesn't mean stop having fun in the meantime. They say, as I stated before myself, play with your focus being on having fun. Now, you can say that, but there's a lot of work going into doing that with your getting your ascending characters. If you don't know, you have to collect all of the pieces again, plus some. So like you had to collect 3 of these, 3 of those, 3 of these. Now I got to be like 4 of this and that and those. And then you had to fight those bosses. There's a lot of time wasted that you could be spent doing something else, especially if the game changes a lot. And I know there's going to be some changes to the Ascension system before, but one of the things that wasn't going to change is the characters. So all of that level up stuff that you're going to do is still going to be important. And if that's something that you want to do to try to be ahead of the game, then you can still do that if you haven't already. I'm just going to wait and see what happens. I think I'm going to jump in every once in a while, play the game, and then just see what happens as the game fully launches in its release. So to say, I'm not sure how much I'm asking for here, but is the game meant to be RNG grindy still, similar to Warframe, or are there pity systems being planned? They say lots of the MTX, microtransactions, and financial models of Wayfinder at early access launch were due to outside influence. We now have full control on how and what the game can be. Now that doesn't really answer the question. They're trying to say that the MTX model, I guess, where you can buy characters and buy weapons if you wanted to speed up that process of having to grind it, was focused on the outside influence, and that's not something they really want to be. They still want stuff to kind of be easier. So maybe they'll be leaning more toward the pity systems, or making things easier to get or easier to grind for, which goes back to that original question of, should you still be grinding for characters or waiting? Because if the game isn't supposed to be RNG grindy, then, or isn't going to be RNG grindy with the MTX systems, like we still don't know, it's up in the air, then you would have really wasted a lot of time doing the RNG stuff when you could just, be chilling. So if you're going with the purpose of punching yourself in the face for RNG, then don't worry about that. I think building up your resources will probably be the best bet to do in that aspect. If you don't have a lot of resources, just working on getting those built up and not worrying about grinding for specific parts would probably be the better way to go in that. Why announce something so vague on the details? It says the announcement comes mainly from a place of legal proceedings finalizing and us wanting to get the store offline as soon as possible, as we don't believe in taking money for something that isn't 100% accurate representation of what will be purchased. The game will be changing and we want the stores to reflect that once it returns for purchase. This announcement is not about the changes that are coming. The main announcement is that things are moving forward. So they're saying that they've used the word purchase a couple of times. Now, we don't know if that means the game will be relaunched back into early access or if that is actually a purchase cost, because earlier when the question was asked if it's going to be free to play or not, they just said details in the future. So a little bit of a mixed signal there. Or is it going to be a early access purchase or is it going to be a full release purchase? And if it's going to be a full release purchase, how does that affect the people that already have the game? And if it's going to be early access purchase, do people just still have the game and it gets an update? Like, one of the benefits of being in early access a lot of the times is that either you're going to get the game at a lower cost or you're going to get some features that somebody didn't have, like some little extra bonuses that weren't available before. We'll see what happens when that happens, because like if you look at Ark, I think Ark was like $20 for like the longest time, and then it came out of early access and then it was like $50. So that's how that kind of worked. Everyone can continue playing as it is without disruption. The only thing we are taking down today is the ability to purchase via Steam and PlayStation. Will progress be reset? Lots of changes will be coming down the pipes. Nothing more that I can share at the moment. Now it's kind of interesting that there's like certain things that are like super small. It's just kind of weird on the details there. That's one of those things you kind of want to be like, this is what's happening. If they can, they probably can't even do that though, even though everything's finalized. Would be great if you could get increased XP gains or something just temporarily whilst you guys sort stuff out. All dev efforts will be dedicated towards the changes we have in the works. So they're like, we're not even going to be doing anything with the game that is on live right now because we're taking off the stores. What we have now is what we got. If you guys got it now, enjoy that, play that to the best you can. Look forward to what's coming in the future. And then Sorrow Sun says, I can assure you a day hasn't gone by where the team hasn't been working their ass off with all the changes we have in store. Making decisions and changes like that as circumstances demand is akin to flipping a U-turn with an aircraft carrier. It takes time, coordination, and a ton of work. We will share more details as soon as we can, but there is still a ton of work to be done. Now keep in mind that the game has kind of been silent since February. We had like one patch. So we had February and March, and now we're like towards the middle of April. And that's just them with their heads down working as far as we know, or as far as we don't know. But they're still working on the game. They're still making announcements. Like I said, as long as the game still making announcements, they're still communicating with everybody, and there's still something to report, I will be here. Can you confirm that these changes, AS will still value fair monetization? This says, now that we are in charge, we're embracing a monetization model that will be very straightforward and I think welcomed by the community and those outside looking at the game and even the current state of the games industry in general. I think people will be very surprised, and frankly, we're going to be treading in uncharted territory, so it's exciting but scary. Now, I don't know what kind of uncharted territory you'd have for a monetization purpose. If it can't be a subscription model, I don't think people will be excited about that. They can't really go the way of like Lost Ark. I don't think people will be excited about that, where you have, the crystalline aura. We know there's battle passes was a thing, and people were really okay with the battle pass. So I'm pretty curious of what they are going to do with the monetization. I think everybody was kind of fine with the way it was before, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, I can't sit here and say that we didn't have a hand in the MTX because that's not true at all. But what we did have to do is look long and hard at the financials and figure out how we can keep Wayfinder around while being respectful to founders and also to our crew of 80 plus people that we want to keep around and keep making great games with. Sounds like they plan on making more than just Wayfinder. I mean, they have made more than just Wayfinder so far, but they kind of still want to go beyond Wayfinder while still having Wayfinder a live game, which It's kind of interesting. So Wayfinder is going to be their anchor game. What's the word for it? Their flagship title is going to be Wayfinder, and then they're going to expand from there, I think. So that's their plan. Wayfinder is going to be their Warframe, for lack of better words. Or their No Man's Sky, possibly. Now, we have a Light No Fire coming out, which looks like pretty good. I'm assuming when you guys do get the game where you want it, there will be an actual release date. And then they say, yes. So no more founders, correct. So how can I get a refund? All sales and transactions are first-party platforms, Steam and PSN, and up until this point, the previous publisher. Refunds can be issued if they meet the refund criteria of the associated platforms. Now, if you got the game and you weren't happy when you played the game, I can understand. If you played the game for more than 100 hours, asking for a refund at that point, it's kind of crazy. Even if you played the game for like 40 hours, I think asking for a refund is kind of crazy, especially knowing that the game will change. Now it says no more founders, and what that means is that no more founders packs. Now, if you already are a founder of the game, you still have access. You should still have access to the things you got in the founders edition of the game. So you still should be getting if they're still doing the season pass model, you still get a season pass, or you should get something equivalent to the season pass, I think, because that's how you're going to keep it with your founder. Be respectful of people that bought into the game early with the founders editions. Make sure they get those things that you promised in those packages, or equivalent or price equivalent to that. At people saying the game is going to shut down, why will we officially say Wayfinder isn't going away and then plan on going away? Sounds like a good way to permanently damage the reputation of the studio. Sales are going down because the product is changing and the current stores don't reflect that. We want our customers to know what they are buying. We will do good by our supporters who have gotten us this far, but this wasn't part of the plan. It is what it is, and we will strive to make the best outcome for all of our customers and team members, regardless of what dice life rolls at for us. And that was the last part of that. Now, my opinion on it all is that all I can do is really wait and see what happens. I have personally always said I was locked in, and I've suggested that people, after the delays with the seasons, I suggested people wait till season 2 come out before they make any decisions if they wanted to purchase or not. And as you see, season 2 never came out. So now we're just kind of still waiting until season 2. Now you're just waiting until the changes happen to see what happens with that. I know some people are kind of still saying, yes, the game is dead. Still going to be saying in the comments, the game is dead. I'm still not on that. I'm still not there yet. Like I said, the servers are still up. There's going to still be people interested in the information. So as long as that all is something that's happening, I'm still going to be here delivering that information and putting that out. I'm not really upset about it. I'm just happy that we finally got a resolution to all of that waiting, and we know what's coming in the future. We at least know about 2 months until we see something new. And I'm kind of interested to see what's going to happen. Kind of excited to see that. We will see what happens. In the meantime, got cool games to play. We got No Rest for the Wicked coming out this month. We got Stellar Blade, Sandland, and a couple of other titles that are dropping. So, guys, keep your eye out. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.